That should be good. If my head's in the way, someone needs to come over here and move this. Maybe, we'll see. All right, so we have our pedal and we're ready. Now, the first step to throwing on the wheel, this is on your thing here. The first step is get your clay and partition it out. So I'm going to grab my clay here. And I need to know what I'm trying to accomplish. We're making cylinders. And as we make cylinders, you're going to grab a chunk of clay and you're going to wedge it out. And as beginners, in the videos we watched, they probably said about the size of your hand, kind of the palm of your hand. For most of us, all I'm going to tell you is about a half of one of these chunks. Okay, that's going to range between 1.4 and 1.6 pounds, somewhere in there. If you want to weigh it, you come way back here. There's a scale. And that's 3.1 pounds, so when I cut it in half, if I was exact, it would be 1.55 pounds, right? So, no big deal. I'm not looking for exact, I'm looking for whatever. If you're looking for exact, that's great. When we get to throwing bowls, I throw bowls and I weigh them out at 1.7 pounds of clay every time. And that's what I weigh my clay out so I can get a similar bowl over and over and over and over again. If I'm doing a little medium or a small serving bowl, I'm going to do 2.7 pounds. If I'm doing like a medium mixing bowl, it's 4.25 pounds. That's what I do. And I just make sure over and over I do the same thing. So we're going to wedge up what we need to wedge up for today. Sometimes the clay tells you it's going to fight you a little bit more. Okay, and I put mine back in this container. Most of you are going to wedge up one piece at a time and cut it in half. And then what I would suggest is you wedge it up and then cut it in half and share with somebody. And then the next person, they wedge some up, cut it in half and share. You don't want to leave your clay sitting out for very long. And you're going to be working with a chunk of clay for anywhere from 5 minutes to a half an hour, depending on whatever. And if your other piece is sitting over here, it's going to start to dry out. Okay, I'm going to wedge up 2 more. I think that's enough time. It's just a little bit firm. That's okay. All right, so the first step is to get your clay and partition it however you want, whatever that is for you. That'll be good. Second is, check my notes, make sure I tell you the right order. Yep. Second is check your wheel for operation. What's your wheel doing? So we jump up. We're not going to jump up here, but so we're sitting here and we go, what's our wheel doing? So I turn it on, push the pedal down. The pedal is a variable speed pedal, which means it goes from 0 to whatever, and it does it in little increments. Now every pedal is going to be slightly different. This one has, it comes in right there, has a slow, goes to medium, it goes to fast. There are some that go a little faster than this, some that go from slow to fast really, really quickly. And if it's really doing something weird, just let me know, and I'll take the pedal apart and fix it. Yeah, that's good. Okay. So the second thing is check what your wheel's doing. Is it going the right direction? Is it doing something weird? Does it turn on at all? Okay. Some of you will sit down and start throwing. It'll be throwing in the left-hand position, but you're right-handed. And there's reasons why we change wheel position. I feel like that's... That'll be all right. Okay, the third is, okay, we're going to skip that for a second. So the 6 variables, the first thing you need to understand is everything that is a variable changes depending on different things. So the first is body position. Where's your body at and why? And there's really important reasons why your body's in certain places. So we're going to bring our stool all the way up to our wheel. We're right up on that. Okay, our elbows are going to be locked into our hips. They're going to be locked into our rib cage. Very rarely, and when I'm lifting a tall cylinder, my left elbow will come up, but very rarely are my arms not down on my legs. Okay, next, so your body position. But we change this. My hands come in at 7 o'clock and at about 4:30, 5 o'clock, right in there. They kind of create this little pyramid. But sometimes I rotate. Sometimes I'm over here. Okay, and I'm going to talk to you about specific things. So body position. The next thing we need to know is wheel speed. And what's it doing? And we're going to change our wheel speed according to where we're at in the steps. The next is water content. So these are the first 3 variables. And I may say them in a different way, but body position, wheel speed, water content. When we watch videos, you watch people put some water down, at least on some of them, and as you interpret it, you might think it's that. You might think you need a lot of water on there, and you don't. You need to come in and take that off. And in fact, I don't put water down at all, because my clay is usually wet enough. But if you do put water down, or if there is water on it, you can dry it out so it's just a little bit damp. All right, tools you need. You're going to need a wood knife, a needle tool, a metal rib, and a wood rib probably. And we'll just throw that over there. And you're going to need a wire tool. All right, when we put clay down, and this is step 3, right? Are we on 3 or 4? We're on 4. So this is...
Wait, we're on 4?
Tell me the steps.
I thought we were on 3. Isn't it still water content? Are we still on water content?
Oh, that's the variables.
We're on 3rd then, yeah.
Okay, 3. So you have, for steps, you have get your clay and get the amount you need, right? You need to know what your wheel's doing, because if it's not doing something right, that's a problem. And now it is put your clay on the wheel and seal it up. So we're going to take a ball of clay, bounce it around, and make it kind of a round bottom. Everyone has slightly different ways of doing this. I like to roll mine down, tap it a little bit. As it taps, it'll start to stick. And that's because it'll be pushing water into the metal, which is aluminum, and it'll start to hold that clay. And then I'm just gonna pat it down. I'm not killing it, I'm just getting that stuck. Okay, so that's the first part of this step, is to get your clay on there and stuck. And now we're gonna seal it. So, a little rule for you. Never touch your clay and then start your wheel. Always start your wheel and then come to your clay. Second rule, if your clay looks that dry, you need to add water. So we're going to come in here, elbows down, that's my body position. Wheel speed, I want to be going at a nice medium. I'm going a little fast. A nice medium. Hand position, left arm's at 7 o'clock with my thumb pointing straight across to 1. My right hand's going to come down in at 5. And I'm going to push straight down and wrap my pinkies around. Now, the next variable is pressure. How much pressure, where, with what, and why. So for me, my pressure right now is down, because if I set this on here and start to push away from me, it's just going to lift that clay up. If you remember, it's been a little while, Marie telling us that clay might go flying off. And it's because you're putting too much pressure on something that's not sealed. So push down, wrap my pinkies around, and seal that up. Sealing means that, when I'm sealed correctly, means that there's no shadows at the very base where the clay and the wheel head come together. If I looked here and go, I don't know if that's sealed properly, I can come back here, or I can just run one finger down at the bottom. If you don't seal it properly, you're going to add water to it, push, and it's basically like you're hydroplaning that clay. You're going to push, the water's going to go under, it's going to lift, and it's going to go flying. Okay, so just seal it up. So wheel speed, water content, body position, pressure. Those are the first 4. That's usually how I'll tell you, but any order, you know them, that's a good order. And now we're on to step number 4, right? Okay, so I've sealed it. I know it's sealed. Now, it depends on who you talk to. John the Potter said it differently than I do. He cones his, and then he says he centers it. Coning is part of centering. So sealing, coning, up and down, that's the next step. And then you can write refining as well as the next step after that. Refining. So let's look at what that looks like. So coning is I'm pushing with my left hand at 7. I'm pushing hard, and you can see that the clay starts to move up a little bit. Okay, so I need to bring that up into a cone. My left hand comes here, so I'm pushing with the bone of my arm here through the clay, and I'm catching with the knuckles of my right hand. So 7 o'clock to 1 o'clock. And I'm going to squeeze. You see how that clay is starting to lift? If it starts to feel dry, add some water. So squeeze, lift, and roll over. Now, wheel speed, water content, body position, pressure. The wheel is going a nice consistent speed. Some of you, most of you, all of you are going to be like fast, slow, and you don't. It's not the wheel that's the problem, it's you. Okay? Okay, you're brand new at this. The wheel, that's a nice constant speed. If you need to, you can just pick a speed and take your foot right off the pedal. Okay, so we're going to do that. We're going to take our foot right off the pedal. Now, body position. Your nose should be right over that center mark. You shouldn't be way out here. Way out here, I don't care how strong you are, it's gonna throw you. So we're right here. Let this box of your shoulders and your torso and your arms do the work. So wheel speed, body position, water content. If it ever looks or feels dry, you're catching it, or there's a ton of slip on your hands. This is not a ton, this is a little bit, but if there's a ton of slip on your hands, you need to add more water, okay? So the most things I tell beginners as I'm coming around, elbows down, more water. Elbows down, more water, okay? And then the next thing is consistent wheel speed. Quit slamming your pedal fast, slow, okay? I know that's how you drive, but that's not how we play on the wheel. All right, so wheel speed, water content, body position, pressure. Back to the steps. So we coned it up, and now we're going to cone it down. It's two hand positions, but it's the same concept. Now, on pressure, and this applies to almost everything we do with throwing, more pressure at the bottom, medium pressure in the middle, light pressure at top. If you're not reducing your pressure as you go up, you're going to do this. And a big chunk of your clay is going to come right off. And then we have to throw it at somebody. No, don't throw it at anybody. So, squeeze at the bottom, get the clay moving, start to flatten your hands out, lift up, but when I get to the top, very light pressure. Okay, I'm going to bring this down. My left hand is going to come just to the left side. My right hand is going to go right on top. As we start, we're going to be doing this. And what I need you to do is get your hands touching. And we're just going to come in here, push forward and down. And we get down to the bottom, and you can still see a little bit of a wobble there. Get rid of some of this clay here. There's a little bit of a wobble. So we're going to refine. So coning it up and bringing it down, or coning it down, it's really two steps, but we're going to combine it into one. And then this one is refining. Now, once we cone it up and bring it down, we don't need to cone it up and down anymore. Okay? Unless we're doing 5, 6, 8, 10 pounds. With 1.5 pounds, we don't. We do need to come here and refine it. So we're going to stay in this same karate chop position. My right hand's on top, slightly pointed over my bucket. Elbows are down. And I'm just going to push into the clay. It moves up into my right hand. And I'm going to push down. It moves into my left hand. In. Oh, it's getting more wobbly. Okay. That's a great example of an air bubble right there. So what you're going to do is you're going to freak out. And you're going to like slam on your pedal, or you're going to something. And you're going to be like, I'm not doing it right. And all we're going to do, we're going to come right back here. And we're going to push in. The clay is going to go where I tell it to. Down. Back in. And I'm just waiting for that clay to just go, ah. And sometimes it takes a long time, and sometimes it just happens. So let's move forward for a second. What I just did is your first couple of days on the wheel. That's what you're going to be working on. But I'm going to show you where you can move from there. So we got our clay, we partitioned it out, we checked our wheel, we got the clay put on the wheel, we got it sealed. Then we coned it up and we brought it down. Okay, and then what was the next step? Refining. That's where we take and we just make micro adjustments to make sure it's right. And now we're going to open it up. Now, I can't remember if I combined these or not, but we're going to open this up. So my left thumb is going to come right off of center. And if you think about if there was a laser pointed straight down to the center of the wheel, it would be pointed right there. And so my left thumb's going to come just off of there. I create a little knob. Okay, you can kind of see that now. And I'm going to put my index finger on my thumb and my middle finger next to it and create a scoop. There are a bunch of ways of opening. This is not how I learned. I actually learned to do it with one hand. I like this better. A little scoop, and I'm going to push into the center. And I know I'm in center when that little knob tears off. Okay, it's not a huge knob. I'm not way out here. Just a little knob. And then we're going to push in. Little things. My fingers are slightly bent, not flat. Bent fingers are stronger than flat fingers. Any rock climbers in here? No? Well, it's true. So if you try to do something with straight fingers versus bent, your bent fingers are stronger. So we're going to come in here and gently push down. Most of my movements actually happen from my hips as I'm hinging and bending. Now, as beginners, you're going to curl over and your back's going to be arched. Keep it straight. You want to hinge. Otherwise, you're going to get up and you're going to be like, oh, that hurts. So be careful there. Push that down. If you're grabbing dry clay, make sure that you add some water. So water content is a lot. It should be shiny. Okay, we'll kind of take that back as we learn more. But as beginners, it should be shiny. So I open that down, and then I'm going to open it towards you. Let's call that one step. I can't remember if I called that 2 steps, but no, I did. I called it 2 steps. So opening it down is one. Opening it towards you is the second step, or the next step. And the reason for that is making a cylinder and making a bowl, we change where we put our hands. So, I want to show you something. We can figure out how thick this is at the bottom by putting our needle tool there, putting our hand in there like this, and pulling that out. The bottom should be about 1 to 1.5 thicknesses of your wood knife. Okay, if it's really thick, you need to push down further. If it's barely there, you need to not push down that far next time. And you just need to kind of pay attention to that. Okay, so we're on to the opening it towards us. Now, when we're centering, it should be wet. When we're moving clay, it should be wet. Anytime you finish, once you've opened, you've got to take your water out. So the wheel's spinning, I take my water out. The reason for that is if I leave my water in there, and then I just sit here and talk to you for a minute, that water is going to soak in, and then it's going to spread out, and it's going to create a big soggy mess. So I come in here, I take that out, and we go from there. Okay, now we're going to open it towards us. And we're making a cylinder, so I want the bottom to be flat and the sides to be straight up and down. And that looks like this. My ring finger and my middle finger of my left hand go inside. My thumb comes on the outside at 6 o'clock. I'm just going to gently squeeze towards my thumb. So opening it towards me. My thumb doesn't move. It just holds there. You're going to find out that centrifugal force is real. And as you start to pull towards you and you pull too quickly, you may just keep going and it's going to go flying. All right, I did an opening move. So I'm going to take my sponge, take the water out. And then we've got that. So flattish bottom, straight up and down sides. Okay, so that's opening towards me. The next, this is step 8. Sweet. This is pulling or lifting. And there's a lot of things we can do here. This is where we shape. This is where we get height. This is where we get width, depending on what we're trying to accomplish. But I want to introduce you to my eagle. So my eagle looks like this. Thumbnails, and I want everyone to do this. Thumbnails are touching. okay? And then your wings come out like this. And everyone flap those wings. Thumbnails touching, okay? Because your eagle is gonna be down here by your clay, and it's gonna go flying up like this, and it's gonna dive down and go all the way down. Sick, huh? Okay, help me with this. We're ready? Up, thumbnail, everyone, thumbnails together. Thumbnails up, up, and dive. Again. Up. Our birds are not making it this season. Let's try it one more time, really loud. So Mr. Gillespie pokes his head in. Ready? Up, and that was almost there. We'll call it for today. So we come in right here, and this is super important. If you look where my hands go, you can sort of see. Let's take this out just a little bit. So my right hand never goes inside the clay. It's always on the outside. My left thumb is always on the outside. My left fingers are on the inside. Okay, this is super important. People, as you are learning this, you're gonna go, I think I know what I'm doing. You're gonna grab like this. You're gonna grab out here. You're gonna just throw your hands wherever you think you're going, and you're not gonna get the results you want. And so follow this. At 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock. Our hands are gonna be right here in the 4 to 5-ish range. My index fingers, this is the important part, are straight across from each other. Okay, and as I'm twisting this, as it's spinning, I'm gonna push together. That clay is gonna be able to guide up my fingers. Now, add some water. Down here, my thumbs touch for support. I'm gonna push underneath. And I'm gonna slowly lift and tilt inward. Okay, you see how that's raising up? Let's do that again. I throw with the sponge in my hand, and it makes my life easier. My hands are in the same position, index fingers straight across from each other, but I put my index finger with that sponge right there. Push down at the bottom. How much pressure at the bottom? Most. Yeah, lots. I lift. How much pressure in the middle? Medium. I get closer to the top. I'm going to roll inward. And how much pressure am I putting? Just barely any. And that starts to rise up. If your hands doesn't fit in, switch to a different hand. More, medium, light. And we start to make a cylinder. Okay? This is what we're looking for close to about 7 days on the wheel. That's what we're going to be looking for. Some of you will get there sooner. Some of you will barely get there. It'll be okay. This is, like we saw in our stuff today, we can make vases and pitchers and bottles and other things out of a cylinder. Most of us will choose to make bowls next term. If we only learn to throw bowls, it's so much harder to learn to throw a cylinder. So we're going to learn to throw cylinders to control that clay and be able to on purpose move it, and then we can make a really nice bowl because we understand how clay is moving. So we're going to get here. Actually, I'm just going to take that out. And I'm going to use my metal rib on the outside, round part on a flat side. So the theory is, if I have a flat side, I'm going to use the round part. If I have something that's round, I'm going to use the flat part. Okay, just all the theory I'm going to talk about. You can't really see. I'm going to do it way out here so some of you can see better. And you're just going to gently compress the clay, clean it up. Then we're going to take our wood knife. Now the wood knife was designed, remember when we were talking about face mugs the other day and I put it inside the face mug? That's what that end's designed for. This end is designed for this specifically, and it is, I'm going to hold this like a pencil, run it down my left hand for support, and if you can see this, it's because that tool lines up but the handle sticks out. So I can come in here and just gently pierce down to the bottom. Take that off. Then we're going to grab this here and cut it. And you're going to do this. And you're going to show me stuff and you're going to talk about it and it's going to be sweet. And I don't have to watch what you're doing, and I can tell you exactly how you're throwing by cutting it in half, just like that. Okay? I could have done one more pull, tiny bit thick at the bottom for this size. The very bottom's fine. I have nice even pulls from the bottom going towards the top. So that's a good thing. It's not going thick, thin, which means my pressure's off. I know it's centered because, well, it was. This side and this side measure the same all the way up. If this side was thicker and this side was thinner, then I wouldn't be centered. Okay, doesn't matter too much right now, but I'm just telling you this is going to be what we do. And then we're going to cut it off. And then that clay goes in this recycle bin back there. Okay, that's wet but not soggy. All right, next for you. I have a pad of clay there. I throw my clay on top of it. It's not soggy looking, it's not wet looking, so I'll throw clay on there. If yours is wet, use a wood tool and come in there and clean that off. Okay? Never use a metal tool on my wheels when it comes to this, because if you do, you're going to scrape. Two, if it catches, it's going to grab your hand and cut your hand. Okay? It happens. I have Band-Aids. So just wash your hands out. You'll be fine. The clay's fine. Make sure it's dry. If you look at my wheel, the outside's wet, but where I'm going to put my clay is dry, and that's a good thing. So let's do this again. Grab another chunk of clay. Put that down. Pat it. I'm going to start this. So I'm pushing down and I'm sealing it up. I'm going to come over here and cone it up. So by coning, I push at the bottom, lift, and then roll over. Now I want to show you something real quick. As you're playing with clay, remember that clay is plastic, right? Plasticity. So it's like a rubber band, and as I'm working with clay, I'm gonna be able to push this pretty far. But when I let go, if I let go quickly, it'll wobble. So as I'm pushing on it, always release slow. Always. In one of the videos we watched, slow is the way to go. I think that's what she said. She said it so slowly, I thought I was going to fall asleep in her sentence. Okay, but remember, we need to push slowly. But that also goes for this. If I come in here and I hit my clay, it's going to make it wobble. So we always approach our clay slowly and firmly. All right, I'm going to bring this down. We'll go back down and show you. So we're going to come in here and cone it up. You don't need to cone it up twice, but I'm going to show you. We're going to push in at 7. Catch. Oh, I was going to... Right behind you is a bowl. The bowl has granola bars and fruit snacks. If you'd like a granola bar or a fruit snack, take one. You can just pass that bowl around. So, push at the bottom, catch, and squeeze. If you keep that same pressure, you're going to rip your clay off. When that happens, you go, oh, I need to reduce my pressure. You had your own snacks this whole time and weren't sharing? Oh, Scooby snacks? Is that really what they are?
Yeah.
Okay, squeeze, lift, and roll over. And now I'm going to bring it down. Gently leaning in, always making sure that there's plenty of water. Now for me, again, I throw with a sponge. And when I'm throwing here, I put it in between my thumb and my index finger. That way I can just squeeze out water whenever I need some. Some people have a hard time throwing with water or with a sponge. I can't throw without one. Just gently push that down. We get down to the bottom. If it's wobbling, we need to refine it. So we're going to come in with this same hand position, and I'm going to push in. Now what I want to focus on right now is I never push down and in at the same time, but both hands are always touching the clay. So I'm going to push in, but my right hand is going to be on top because I want to guide that clay just a little bit. I'm going to push down, but my left hand is going to be on the side, but I want to guide that clay. If I don't have a hand on top, it just kind of goes wherever I need to guide it. So we're just going to guide that clay. Okay. And now what? What's next?
Open it up.
Open it. Okay. So we make this little knob. Little scoop. Push down. Get to the bottom. We can stop it and check how thick it is. I'm going to pull towards me now, because I'm creating a cylinder. I want it to be fairly flat, fairly straight up and down. Okay, I want to focus on this. So when we lift, some of you are going to lift, and you're going to lift quick. And that's, you got to slow down. The next thing you're going to do is your inside hand and your outside hand are going to apply the same pressure, or your inside hand is going to have more, and you're going to move outward. And you're like, no, I want it to go in, but you can't figure it out, and then it flops or whatever. But I want to show you this. As you're playing with clay, this is going to happen. Okay, you're going to make a little bracelet. And you go, look, I made a bracelet. And we're like, oh, that's so cute. And then we go, okay, now what? And then you look at your clay, and this is actually where you're going to learn the most about clay. And it's when you take your failures, and instead of just crumpling it up, you come in here, and you hold steady, and you see what clay can do. And you just gently move your hands and lift, or move, or push. And then when it flops, you go, okay, now what? I've got this. I'm going to come in here, and I'm going to play with clay. I'm going to push it around. How far can I push it in? How far can I pull it out? And then it flops. We put it over there. And I got this whole pad of clay. One of my favorite bowls in the whole world came from a tiny pad of clay like this. That's no lie. Used it just 2 days ago. And we're going to see what happens. I'm going to push inward. Lift up. Oh, and it falls apart. We're going to play around with the clay. But everything you see, my hands are across the clay from each other, straight through. Not like this. There are potters who throw like that, and it's not wrong. It's just not a great way to learn. And we're going to play around with clay. Oh, and guess what? There's just enough clay down here to do some more. So we're going to come in here, and we're going to make ourselves a cute little pot there. Come here. Play around. And then, oh, one more.
Sweet.
How great is this? Make ourselves a cute little thimble bowl. Oh, nope, we're not. Yep, we are. Look at that. That's adorable. And we're going to play around with that. Oh, and we're done. And then what do? We grab another chunk of clay and do it again. Oh, you grab me my towel. It's a long way, so thank you. We're going to grab another chunk of clay. Okay, pat it down, start your wheel always, push down and into the center, seal that up. We're going to cone it up. Did I tell you step number 9?
No.
Step number 9 is to clean up and cut. I skipped kind of over that, but remember when I ribbed it and then I cut it in half? It's not the most important step right now because most of you aren't getting there for a couple of days. We're going to lift this, bring it down, make sure there's plenty of water. I have a few things I want to accomplish, and so I sped my wheel up. If there was ever a time where philosophy and physics coincided with art, it's right now. I don't know about philosophy. We're refining. Okay, I'm going to open it up, but I want to show you this. You ready? What's this?
A thumb. Up. A thumbs up.
What's that?
A dent.
It's my thumbprint, right? Okay. So the wheel is unique. Still my thumb, right? As it's spinning and I'm applying an equal pressure, that's still my thumbprint. Does that make sense? Okay, so if I come in here and hit it, I get a dent. If I come in here and hold steady, see, I get a shape or a form. So whatever we're doing, we've got to let this clay run around our hands. If I want this to open, I just come in here and go open. It's not right. But if I come in here and go open, it becomes better. All right, open it towards us. There are all kinds of cool things we can do with clay. The first few times you're on, actually a lot of the times you're on, what I want you to focus on, the steps. Oh, that's a variable number 5. So wheel speed, water content, body position, pressure. and knowing the steps. The steps are different for different forms. They're different for different amounts of clay. But you need to focus on the steps. But you also need to focus on thinking about what the clay's doing. You do something and the clay reacts. Why did the clay react that way? Okay, and you need to be paying attention. If you aren't paying attention, you're not going to learn. You're not reflecting, you're not going to learn. The clay goes where you tell it to go. Whether it's because you turn your wheel on too fast, then it goes flying everywhere, or as you touch the clay, it follows your path. It's not doing it on its own. So we can come in here and play around with clay. It would be cool if I could unwrap it all, but I can't. Okay, we can play around with clay, and if it tears for a reason. I put on too much pressure when the clay was too thin. And I've got to be paying attention to the physics of it. Play around with clay, guiding that clay. You're going to learn a lot. Now, how much time do we have? What else do I want you to know? Let's do this again. I'll get rid of this. I won't play around with this last bit for a minute. Should we do a bigger piece?
Yeah.
Who said yeah? You're going to do it?
No, you should.
I feel weak.
You got this.
Do
You
I?
got it. Go eat your granola bar or something.
My wife makes the best spaghetti sauce, and I had this. That's what I had for lunch.
You know what? That actually sounds really good. You should
She
let
makes
us test out that
it's
drink as well.
it's a sugar-free blend. It's so good. You know that most spaghetti sauce has sugar in it. Not hers. It's so good. All right, this is more clay. This is about 3-ish pounds. I'm gonna center the top down here. But it was over, instead of noodles, it was over a cabbage and fried onion stir fry. So yummy. Okay, we're going to bring it down. So wheel speed, water content, body position, and pressure. If I speed up the wheel, I have to adjust my pressure in my body. If I'm doing something with my hands, like let's say I'm lifting a bowl, and I start to get out here, if my wheel's going really fast, it's going to flop, because centrifugal force will take it. And I don't want to do that up here, it would get all over. As funny as that would be to me, our viewers at home wouldn't like it.
Is there a limit to how tall you can let it go?
In this class, or just in general? There are people who throw huge things. If you want to look up Danny Messerly, Nick Simpson made that 14 years ago. He's a former student. But Danny Messerly makes these tall vases where his wheel will be on the floor and he'll be standing on a tall stool finishing the top. Our kilns won't handle them. BYU has a kiln, I think it'll do a 5-foot vase. There are kilns that will do, they actually have kilns that they build specifically for tall pieces. And I saw a video of one being fired last year where they built it around it and fired it, and it was probably like 25 feet tall. And it was one piece, and they built a kiln specifically for that piece. All right, we're here. So wheel speed, water content, body position, pressure, know your steps. want to know what the sixth variable is?
Don't sleep on the job.
Oh, that reminds me. Anyone with long hair or hoodies and types of things with strings, make sure they're back. It would suck if your hair got stuck in this and then all of a sudden your face is like smack. It would suck so bad. It happens. Not in this class it doesn't, because you're all smarter than everyone else, but it happens.
Somebody
So-
like got sharpened their hair.
Yes, it's happened. Not in this class. But even if it doesn't get wrapped around, you'll get your hair and it'll be down here, and all of a sudden you got white tips.
What's the worst you've seen in this class?
The worst what? Like-
That's happened to someone? Yeah.
Metal rib cuts are the worst. They cut and there's blood all over the place. It's not a big deal. We just wash it out. They heal just fine. Let's lift this sucker. The worst accident, though, a couple of years ago, a student, I have black underglaze. It's kind of like our black slip. And it was in a big 1 gallon bucket. It's about $90 for that gallon. And he dropped it and it went everywhere. And I was like, suck. And I had just thrown a bunch of these roundish pots. And I was like, well, so I just scoop it up and put it on. I'm not going to waste the underglaze. Some of my favorite pots, actually. So wheel speed, water content, body position, pressure. Know your steps. So understand what you're trying to accomplish, what you need to do before, in the middle, and what you're going to do next. So important. Still, anyone want to guess what number 6 is? What? What did you say? Say it loud, whatever it was.
I was just confused that wasn't.
Okay. So, I want to ask you a question. We got 15 minutes. This is perfect. Think about somebody you know that can do something really, really, really well. Just throw it out. Somebody you know. You don't have to use names if you don't want to. Somebody you know that does something really, really, really well. What? Someone paints really well. What kind of things do they paint? Portraits. Portraits are tough, especially if it's of somebody you know. It really is. Because that's a lot of pressure. Okay, someone else. Math. You know somebody who does math well? That's so cool. I really do. I think that's so cool. Math people become engineers. They become, yeah, that's cool. Someone else. Somebody you know that does something really well. History. Someone's good at understanding history. Keep going. Ballet. Yeah. You're thinking about me, right?
No, my mom's whole side of the family, they were all professional.
Really? And are you a dancer?
No.
No? Do you sometimes feel like you're a disappointment?
All the time.
Nice. You're not, I'm sure. Not for that reason.
Okay.
Just kidding.
Well, I wasn't. Cooking.
My dad wrote a book. It was like his memoir. My first name's Dave, just so you know. And my dad was never really all that Anyway, let me tell you what my section of the book said. I got like 2 paragraphs, and the first sentence is, Dave was a difficult child to raise. That's the first thing she says about me. And I was like, so when I spoke at his funeral 2 years ago, almost 2.5 years ago, I go, my dad was a difficult dad to be raised by. That's how I started my eulogy. It was pretty funny. I thought it was hilarious. Anyway, people you know that do good things really well. How would you describe them?
Cool.
Cool. Inspiring.
Interesting.
Interesting. Dedicated. What? Important. Maybe they are important. Sometimes when people are good things, they're self-important.
Committed.
Committed. More words?
Slightly annoying.
Okay. Because they're good at something you're not?
No, it's when they have to like talk about it 24/7.
What if they're good at being humble?
That's why I said slightly.
Again, you're talking about me.
Yeah, that would
Good at being humble. That is not a word that I would be described as. Good. You know what you did? What words you? Funny. What word didn't you describe them as?
Amazing, cool, spectacular.
Talented. And that's a good thing. Most people who are good at most things are not talented at it. They may have a talent towards it, but they're not talented at it. People who are good at playing the piano really, really, really well, they maybe have that like initial talent, but it's the practice. It's the hard work. And I know when people say, oh, you're so talented, they mean something different than you were born with this, and no matter what, you'd be good at this. Okay? I was not born with this. I've spent tons of time getting good at this. And I actually don't like the word talent at all. I used to say that I'm really hardworking, and I've changed that as well. I've changed it to use words like I'm a good seeker of understanding and knowledge. I've changed it to say that when I work with an attention to what I'm trying to accomplish. I don't say hardworking. I say I'm trying to accomplish something. And there's a bunch of other words we can use. As beginners, you could use words like you're forgiving of yourself as you're working, right? That you are open to the possibility of moving information and understanding it. You don't have to be a hard worker. You don't have to be talented. It doesn't have to come natural. We can push through all of those things, and that's awesome. What other words could we describe ourselves as we're learning? That's not talented.
Patient.
Oh yeah, patient. I like that. What?
Trying.
Trying. Yeah, keep going. How would you want to be described as you were working on something and putting forth just an enormous amount of effort?
Devoted.
Annoyed? Devoted. I heard annoyed. Devoted. Cool. Someone else? I got time to do one more. So, I'll probably keep that. We'll see. I could turn that into like a little teapot, put a lid on it and a handle. There's all kinds of cool stuff we can do. Next class, if you want to hear about my latest thing I'm working on, I'll talk to you about that. It's a meditative thing. It's awesome. So let's hurry and do this. So number 6. As people are learning, and society in general has gotten really bad at this, we think we need to be perfect at something before we do something. And so people don't do things anymore on a grand scale. People have stopped trying new things because they feel like they're going to look stupid in front of whoever their peers are. It's one of the joys of not having many friends. I can't look stupid in front of them. So, and I'm not kidding. I don't have many friends. I have my wife and like 3 other people that I hang out with ever. And 2 of them are babies, so. Just kidding, I have lots of friends. But number 6 is you're working, and I've showed you some basics on throwing. We talked about the philosophies, the 6 variables, my basic steps. We've watched some videos. You're going to start. But what I need you to do is take this to heart, and it is, I need you to have a positive mindset. So what's going on in your head is so important. Reframing our words is so important. As we're doing this, and I come back there, and you say, Mr. Jones, I can't do this. I'll be like, you can, you just haven't gotten there yet. What information are you missing? Mr. Jones, I suck at this. I see that you suck at this. What information are you missing? Okay? It's not that big of a deal. You're brand new. You're going to suck. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. When I try new forms, I fail. But I know that I can grab some clay and do it again. Grab some clay and do it again. Grab some clay and do it again. And I can consistently sit up here and talk to you and throw clay at the same time because I understand wheel speed, water content, body position, pressure. I know my steps. I know what I'm trying to accomplish. And I'm pretty confident with what's going on. I'm pretty set in going, I can do this. And there's a bunch of stories that go along with that. I'm not going to tell you today, but as we're working and you're working and you start doubting, you're frustrated, it's frustrating, and you are there, reframe it. If you can't, tell me the word you're thinking and then I'll help you reframe it. Because that's so important. It's so important to not be like, I can't. You can. We just haven't gotten there yet. It may take you a little bit longer than someone else. Okay? That's fine. We'll work through that. It's the effort that matters. If you judge yourself based off of what I can do, 2 things. You're discounting yourself and you're discounting me. And so 3,500 pounds of clay in the last 2 minutes is what we just brought up. We're going to go through between this clay and the clay we recycle in all 7 classes that I teach. Yeah, 7 classes. We're going to go through about 11,000 pounds of clay this semester. All my classes. That's just one semester, okay? Divide that out by 170 students. You can get whatever number you're going to get. Anyone want to do that quick?
How many students?
About 170.
To what?
About 11,000 pounds. So 64 pounds per student, okay? That's about how much clay you're gonna go through. Some more, some less, no big deal. I personally, on my own projects, my demos, other things, I go through about 3,000 to 4,000 pounds of clay a year, myself. I burn through it. In the summer, I'm working with clay. And what I want you to understand with this is you get good by putting in the effort, but by putting in focused effort. So as we're working, don't stress. You're brand new. On Tuesday, we're gonna split into groups. If you really, really want to hand build first, great. If you really, really want to will throw first, great. Hand builders, well, all of you should bring your sketches for your hand-built mugs so I can check those off. Next, those of you who are going on the wheel, you're gonna have guided throwing. And what that means is you're gonna pair up with somebody and you're gonna start and they're gonna have the notes and they're gonna guide you through the steps. And then you're gonna switch and you're gonna do that 2 or 3 times during the first day or two, depending on what you want to do, until you're like, I think I can do this on my own. And it's gonna be fun. It's about all the inspiration I can think of. Be good. Or don't, whatever. That's your parents' problem. Put your chairs up, please. We'll see you Monday, Tuesday. You're going out of town, right? Where are you going again? I'd say fun. That is not my idea of fun.
Yeah.
It is for some people.
I feel like it's like
Very
no
amusement
that.
park type person, so.
But the family says you're going.
Yeah.
Okay, it's okay. You can actually. Probably more than anything, and I'm not giving you medical advice. Probably more than anything, it's not you're allergic to clay. You're allergic to the dryness that the clay is making you be. Do you have a dermatologist? No? Okay. So talk to your parents about it. Try lotion and see.
That's what I have been doing, but like burn.
Okay, you can use gloves. So I don't know if you're allergic to any of the glove types, but I have some gloves you can try, and you can use that and see if that helps.
Okay.
I really think it's probably just the dryness.
Yeah, because I come from Texas and it's like so humid.
Mm-hmm.
When I moved here in November.
Yeah, and and it hurts. Yeah, and I'm gonna say it's the dryness, but I don't know that. Try lotion. My lotion's good, but like Aveeno is better. It's a more expensive lotion and it helps to hydrate, but you can also, underneath the sink, there are gloves you can wear. You can work with that. It's a little awkward at first, but it's better than not. Yeah, see ya. So, yeah, well, let's try that. If it gets bad, like a rash, like when I throw big and I get up here where I never get clay, I get rashes. And it's just because this is not used to this. So my hands don't get rashes anymore.
So are we supposed to turn in those like morning sketches?
We're gonna do that Thursday.
Okay.
So, I have one mug finished
Cool.
at home, and I was wondering if I could take some colored slip home.
Yeah, right over there. There's some little bottles. You can just scoop some out with a wood knife and put them in there. And then there's paintbrushes if you want them. And yeah. And then one should be enough to do. Then you can do the other one when you come back. So 'cause you'll still have 2 days when you come back.
Yeah, that should.
So that would be great.
Yeah, it only took me 2 days to do this one.
Oh, good. Yeah.
I mean, a lot of hours, but 2 days.
Yeah, you let me know. But yeah, grab the slips, grab your wood knife, and just scoop it into them. You can take as many or whatever you want. What's up?
What did we do yesterday in class?
We did a demo, a hand building demo. It's on Google Classroom. It's not on Google Classroom. I need to put it on. I forgot to do that yesterday. Yeah, we did face mug demo.
You're still recording, by the way.
I know. I just you can hit it off. I just
An
haven't
hour and
reached.
10 minutes.